Well, we can talk. NVIDIA announced today, you saw that, hundreds of billions of dollars of investment. The biggest chip maker in the world announced hundreds of billions of dollars of investment. Hundreds of billions, not millions, but billions. They're all coming here. Apple just announced $500 billion worth. They're going to build plants here. You know, they built their plants in China. They're going to build them here. And they're starting immediately. $4 trillion. $4 trillion is coming in. Car companies, very importantly, a lot of the car companies that were going to build in Mexico or Canada are now building here. Because I don't want cars from Canada. I don't want cars from Mexico. I want the car companies to build here. Are going to be booming.
Trump's attitude toward China has suddenly changed. Not only has he publicly opposed initiating a war with China, but he's also open to negotiating the tariff war he started. According to Chinese state broadcaster CCTV, citing U.S. media reports, on the 21st local time, Trump held a press conference in the Oval Office. In addition to officially unveiling the U.S.'s first sixth-generation fighter jet, the F-47, Trump focused heavily on a series of issues concerning China-U.S. relations. Reportedly, in response to concerns about the possibility of a military conflict between China and the U.S., Trump made it clear that the U.S. does not want war with China, but is fully prepared for one if necessary. Secretary of Defense Hegses, who was present, added that the Pentagon has no secret plan for a conflict with China. After publicly opposing war with China, Trump also addressed the ongoing tariff war. He said that discussions with China to cancel the additional tariffs are possible. But before that, the April 2nd deadline he set for new tariffs will not change. Recently, Trump has announced 2 rounds of new tariffs on Chinese goods, raising them by another 20%, sparking a new wave of tensions between the two countries. In retaliation, China imposed tariffs on U.S. goods, including agricultural and aquatic products. It's worth noting that U.S. agricultural states are a core part of Trump's base, and China's targeted tariffs on American agricultural goods have put significant pressure on him. Moreover, Trump's softened stance toward China may also be closely related to Senator Steve Daines' visit to China. Before his trip, Daines paid a visit to the White House for discussions with Trump. Daines, a known China hand who worked in China for years, said in an interview that he hopes for better trade relations between China and the U.S., for more U.S. exports to China, and for the creation of American jobs. Daines' visit to China clearly carried Trump's intentions, and China's foreign ministry gave a cautious welcome, stating only that maintaining a healthy, stable, and sustainable China-U.S. relationship is in the interests of both countries and the world. Some foreign media speculate that beyond improving trade ties, Daines' trip has another important mission: to help facilitate a new round of talks between Trump and Xi Jinping, something Trump has mentioned multiple times recently. There is a widespread belief that Trump 2.0 has 3 key goals: repair relations with Russia, end the Russia-Ukraine war, focus fully on suppressing China's rise. From his recent actions, this roadmap appears to hold true: escalating tariffs and sanctions on China, interfering in South China Sea and Taiwan issues, etc. Now, however, the U.S. position has shifted dramatically, suggesting that America now needs China. In reality, the U.S. economy can no longer afford a prolonged trade war with the East. Signs are pointing to an imminent economic downturn. The once booming stock market continues to fall. Interest rates are dropping, while domestic prices keep rising. All this shows that the market is pessimistic about America's economic future. Trump once claimed the tariff war would make America great again, but the U.S. trade deficit only grew, reaching $1.21 trillion in 2024, a 50% increase from when Trump first launched the trade war in 2017. Under Trump's leadership, the U.S. didn't just slap massive tariffs on China. It also launched trade disputes with Canada, Europe, Mexico, and other allies. But after all that chaos, it turns out that even with tariffs, the U.S. still had to buy Chinese goods, meaning ordinary Americans ended up bearing the cost. To improve the U.S. economy and slow its decline, Trump's change in attitude toward China now makes sense. His ultimate goal remains revitalizing U.S. manufacturing, but the path of tariffs and trade war has clearly failed. The only alternative is to get other countries to buy more American goods, promoting manufacturing growth at home, hence the diplomatic outreach to China. However, America's deindustrialization over decades makes revival difficult. Looking at the types of products China imports from the U.S., aside from industrial goods like chips and aircraft, A large share are agricultural products like soybeans and corn, and raw materials like oil and gas. As China continues to make breakthroughs in cutting-edge technologies, it may not be long before U.S. high-value industries lose their appeal to China. When that time comes, Trump will have no leverage left. So the wisest choice is to strike a good deal while he still can. As the Chinese saying goes, China and the U.S. can thrive together. Mutual success leads to shared prosperity.